Seems like we need to do an update on Matt Stafford because he got an epidural injection, and that's no joke. They said that he had a disc issue, and when we talked before about spondylolysis, basically that stress fracture that happened, I said it increases the risk of arthritis. There's a specific type of arthritis that it actually increases, and that's called, wait for it, spondylolisthesis. That's right there. This basically means that the vertebrae isn't stable enough that it slightly shifts forward. As you can see there, it causes the disc to push out a bit. Now that disc causes a lot of inflammation and pain, and you can't really reduce the size of the disc right away, but you can imagine that disc herniation causes a ton of inflammatory factors to come into that location, and instead of just taking an Aleve or an ibuprofen that sends out anti-inflammatory effects to your entire body, what they do is they take a steroid, which is much stronger than Aleve or ibuprofen, and they inject it directly into that area where all that inflammatory factors are happening, and by that means they decrease the pain. Now, how long are we looking at pain for? So on average, pain from a herniated disc can last 6 to 12 weeks in the majority of people. In other people, it can last longer, but I would guess Stafford has got the best care available. He's an Ironman type of player. I would assume that he falls within that range. But how long does the epidural steroid last for? So the epidural injections, they last for about 2 to 6 weeks. In certain situations, they can last for longer than that, but this is what all the meta-analysis, which is the strongest type of studies, say. Before I get to whether or not I think this is going to affect Stafford long-term down the season, I got to talk about something that people have been telling me that I say that it doesn't really concern me or mildly concerns me, and then I say that you really shouldn't draft him for a round or two. And the thing about these videos is that they're kind of me just spitballing and talking about injuries, and then I kind of throw on casually what I think is going to be there, but it's not an objective way of measurement. So that's why I like my draft kit, because it says none, mild, moderate, severe, do not draft. And each of those settings has a specific range. So 0.5 round to 1 round, 1 to 3 rounds. And that's just me saying that that's how much that concerns me, or none, where it doesn't concern me at all. So it's hard for me to be very definitive because I take these videos in one take. So that's why this draft kit's here, because if you have a question about where specifically I would want to drop this player or not drop them at all, you can just reference any of those 144 players in an easy to read spreadsheet. So, will Stafford be able to ball later on this season? I think he's going to be able to get a ton of pain relief, and I think he's going to start out playing strong at the beginning of the season, but I do think that back is going to start acting up later on this season and affect the production to Puka and Devontae. The thing is, if he gets shut down, Jimmy G is actually a viable option, but it's kind of a big risk to take with Puka going in the first round. That's why I slapped a moderate risk on Puka and a severe risk on Stafford.